Hello and welcome to Reading in Bed Extracts with me, Amanda Steele. I'm one half of the main Reading in Bed podcast team, and I like to ask listeners to support the podcast and me in different ways in each episode, which hopefully doesn't cost any money and sometimes benefits the listeners as well, because we don't have paid advertising. So in this episode, I'm asking people to vote for my book Ghost of Me, which has made it into the top 10 finalists of the thriller category in the Author Elite Awards. So when I do the write-up for this episode, as well as including the links where you can buy the book that I'm going to read an extract of, I'll also include the link to vote for my book in the awards. So on to the extract for this episode. It's the first in the Ascending Angel Academy series, and it's called The Decoding of Joe, Hall of Ignorance, and it's by Lali Love. Chapter 1. The Aftermath. The electric thunder of her pounding heart engulfed her eardrums. Fear seized her very core. Her whole body began to tremble, and as panic took a stronghold of her chest, the sacred fire burned in blazes of blue and pink hooves. The heat began to rise, and smoke billowed throughout the space. Jo struggled to breathe, looking for ways to escape, but she was not alone. She noticed a loose beam over the fireplace, engulfed in flames and perilously teetering above this strange-looking man, as he lay whimpering in his blood. With smoke-filled lungs, she made her way over to the stranger and dragged him towards the door, away from the imminent dangers. Intrinsically, Jo knew she had to save his soul. Humanity depended on it. By some miraculous means she tapped into a divine feminine power and began the induction of his soul bondage reversal. Jo summoned his DNA lineage to resolve the soul contracts that had hoarded violent masculine energy in his ancestry. She also chanted the fabrication prayer, removing all curses of past patriarchal systems and domination of the family unit. This broke the cycle of his family's curse and past life agreements to set his soul free. The shadows of oppression emerged from this stranger in a grotesque and cohorted hue of black smoke, emanating a sense of foreboding and dread. As the darkness was defeated, the demonic entities screamed in protest, exposing their ugliness by staring into Jo's eyes, threatening her soul's existence. Terror gripped her heart. Jo began fighting off the cold, evil clutches of these sinister shadows. She feared for her life as the intensity of high-pitched shrieking enveloped her ears and her head with an explosive pressure until blood drizzled down her nose. Bang! 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 Jo, are you awake? You can't be late for school again. The sound of her father's voice snapped her out of the horrific nightmare. Jo felt enormous relief wash over her entire body. This had become her sleeping ritual since that fateful night 3 months ago, when her mother Lilac was taken hostage by a homicidal maniac. Yes, Dad, I'm awake, she muttered in a hoarse voice. Jo felt like her body had been dragged through a war zone. She was a mess, drained and exhausted. Jo could not focus on her mundane daily routine or even school for that matter. She was not in the right frame of mind to write her science test. Her marks at school were pathetic, and at this rate Jo worried about passing the 10th grade. She needed to score some sleeping pills if she was going to make it through this semester. She reached under the bed and grabbed the glass bong she had been given by her friends for her birthday. Jo needed to take the edge off before facing humans. It took all her energy to sit up on her bed and take a couple of bong hits before deciding which mask to wear for the outside world. Jo loved her family and was grateful for her parents, especially after her mother Lilac had survived the horrific ordeal. But they were always in her space. She could not confide in anyone about her frequent nightmares. She did not understand why it felt so real. It was as if she was present when her mother and her Aunt Rose were tortured by their crazy half-brother that held them captive in a remote prison-like basement. The whole situation had been chaotic. Even after 3 months of family healing and therapy, Jo was still traumatized by the events and the disillusionment of her ancestral bloodline. Lilac had explained that what transpired on the night of her 50th birthday to her sister Liz and her dad Adam, but it had not been an easy conversation learning the truth about their family heritage. And if you want to read the whole book, you can get it from Amazon, and I'll be including the buy links in the write-up for this podcast, and also the author webpage, so you can find out more about the author. And if you want to get in touch with me and have your book considered for reading in bed extracts, you can email me at contact@amandasteelewriter.com. And as I mentioned earlier, if you want to vote for my Ghost of Me in the Author Elite Awards in the thriller category, you can also find the link in the write-up. And if you can't see it, you can also email me at the same address, and I may also be able to give you a free audiobook of Ghost of Me if you haven't read it and you would like to read it before you decide to vote. So please support me and the authors that I read extracts of, and thanks for listening, and tune in next time. Bye everyone.